This is AKA the construction mentor, right?
Yep.
Underscore.
Yeah, the underscore construction underscore mentor.
That's right. So, and you just got here, right?
I did. You mean like physically from Florida? Yeah,
Yes.
I woke up at 3:30 this morning and flew here and literally just got off the plane right now.
Thank you so much for being here. And in the middle we have Wilson Betances. He's a founder of Energize Us EDU. And your Instagram handle is Will M. Betances.
Yes.
Right. Next we have Cameron Vogelsang.
Tennessee electrician.
At Tennessee Electrician. And
Sergio Cortez with the Surge Electrical Training, Surge Method.
Surge Method. All right. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for having me. I'm Eli again. And thank you, everybody, for being here. This is amazing to see. Incredible that we're all here together. So, I have a question. I have a list of questions here, as you can tell. The skilled labor shortage isn't new. What is different today?
Start with me. The skilled labor shortage is not new. It's been a stat that's been out there for a long time, that for only 2 people that come in, 5 people leave. At one point it was 7 to 1. So I don't know if that's depending on who you ask or if we're actually getting better at it, but I think that there's a lot of things that play into that. If you look at just the population of the United States in the last 20 years, I think we've gone up by about 100 million people. So obviously, if you have 100 million people, you need 100 million houses, you need 100 million businesses, you need all the things to support, to support that. And I think the other thing is obviously that young people generally haven't wanted to go. I think people are starting to come around to it, but people haven't wanted to get into the trades for the reasons that we're probably all aware of and the misconceptions that are out there.
Anyone else want to speak to that?
And when you talked about the skilled trades having a shortage, we can go even a step deeper than that, because we all talked about at one point in time with the DOL, they reported how we have a 50 to 60% dropout rate. So you can now ask or reframe that question saying, do we have a shortage or are more people leaving? You see where I'm coming from? So if we're saying, hey, there's a shortage and we have this pipeline and we're saying, hey, we need 10 students to come in, and then by the end of the program or throughout that program, 50 to 60% are dropping out, do we need more people or do we have to figure out how do we retain that workforce? Mm-hmm. So it always goes down to that, and it always surprises me, because what's so funny is when you see this Department of Labor, if you go online to apprenticeship.gov and you see these statistics, you're now looking at, okay, this has nothing to do with retirement, the boomers, it has nothing to do with it. This is strictly that people are not staying in the program, and you should be asking yourself why, and not just say we have a leak and we don't have enough people, but why isn't someone saying, hey, this is a career that I can jump into, but why don't I want to stay?
Why don't you think people want to stay?
Yeah, so just to piggyback off of what Will said, I think there's several reasons why people don't stay in the trades. We talked about the retention rate, right? There's a great amount of people leaving, and yes, there's a shortage, but why is there a shortage? Because when I talk to people, we even have some people here looking for jobs, but I hear the union halls are lined up. It's really hard to get in some unions across the country. So to me, it just seems like, we hear a lot of advocacy for the skilled trades, which is needed, and we needed to keep doing that. But like Will was saying, I think there's a deeper rooted issue. Why are people leaving? And I'm going to argue that it could be a slew of things. It could be the apprentice. It could be maybe some people aren't cut out for it, but I think a bigger reason is the leadership going on in the skilled trades. So how are these people being treated? Is there processes and systems to develop these apprentices into successful electricians or professionals, whatever trade you're in? And so, yes, there's a labor shortage, but we can't just keep saying labor shortage. Everyone says the same thing, but why is there a labor shortage? And we need to tackle that issue.
What I see also as well is getting into the trades is tough when you're brand new with no experience. You go and get trained, and then you go get a job, they're like, well, you have no experience. Like, companies are hesitant. They want someone trained. They don't want trained. When we change the culture of, hey, we need training done, and you're mostly in these trades where we have to get them coming in where they know nothing, and we have to invest. The companies have to invest in the workforce. When a lot of companies are saying, well, we just don't have the people. We got plenty of people that are ready for work. But a lot of companies too aren't, they're also not being into that, the culture of training itself is where we're gonna put some money and make sure that this person comes in, they know nothing, we're gonna train them to be our worker, to understand our methods. But that part of that door is still, it's not as wide open as we say it is, because there's plenty of people looking for work. There's plenty of electricians looking to be in electrical trade. Does that make sense? Go to school, we're done, and now it's hard to get into a job. Because what's the job gonna say? Well, we need some experience. I've got no experience. I just went to a school. I went and I'm ready to go. Yeah, well, you have no experience. And now here's all this group that's saying, hire me. And the door doesn't open. It starts, it's a small flow. When, I think that it's shifting, it's much better. The companies are now investing and saying, hey, I've got to pay to train my people while I'm in-house. And that's the best way to do it. You train them for in-house, you do it the way that you want them to be done. But those doors are still, they're just not as open. And just like Will said, it's not, once we get them in, now can we keep them? That's the hard part.
Okay, so to follow up with that, do you think that it's not a labor shortage, it's kind of like a gatekeeping kind of thing? And also, is it an awareness problem at all?
I think it's 100% an awareness problem. There's only 3 ways that you keep people. It's appreciation, it's compensation, how much money you're getting paid, and the opportunity. So if you don't feel like you have an opportunity, number one, if you don't think there's an opportunity, then you're never going to go there in the first place. But if you don't feel like you have an opportunity to learn, to grow, or one of the messages that I try to preach is that, listen, I think we all know that you can make money in the trades, but the notion that it's like a lifetime of indentured servitude, like you're a slave, and that there's no career advancement, is totally false. And whether you make people feel like it, that get in right away, and they feel like they're never going to get out of the apprentice seat, or they're never going to get like the next big project or learn enough to go on their own, or you're just talking to a group of high school students and it's like, yeah, well, it's okay, like, little person, like, we need people to do these useful jobs, and you take one for the team, and you'll get paid good while you do it, but like, you might not love it. I started out, so I didn't introduce myself, but I started out digging holes just like most people did in the construction industry, and I ended up getting out of the trades, so quick I didn't even really pick one up. Right, and that was 23 years ago. Now I run hundreds of millions of dollars of work all over the country. But there's opportunity to do that too. You don't have to go to college to have an opportunity on the business side of construction. I don't think that we do a good job of communicating that.
And I think that's a big, to complement what he said, when it comes to anything else in life, you know how to market it. If you go on TV right now, you're gonna see a Coca-Cola commercial. You're gonna see all these different things. And that's why it goes back to that labor shortage. It seems like that's the only marketing technique we have right now, talking to the youth, is there's a shortage. It's like, what else can you say about it? Because on the other hand, like Cameron was talking about and Sergio was talking about how they can't find work. I take it a step further in the sense of, we have this new generation of contractors coming in. They have all this opportunity, but they're not building their businesses the way they should, or the way that is possible, just like what Ryan was talking about. Because as we mentioned from the beginning, there's 3 things that you really need to focus on and hone in if you want to become successful in the trades: hard skill, soft skill, self-development. We have great workers out there, but people don't know how to communicate. I'm telling you, it's so simple how to talk. Try to say, or go into an interview, or try to give an estimate without saying or fuck. You understand? It's so simple. But something like that will turn off a homeowner even before you give your own price. They don't care how you look. They don't care what you say. They don't care how good you work. If there is no trust in how you deliver yourself, somebody's not going to want to listen. So now you have to take that further into when it comes down to the trade. We have to market ourselves better, yes. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we are contractors, or we're in a position to give those benefits to our workers. What if you don't know how to price a job, right? Or you bid low to win a job? Do you have enough in how you deliver yourself? Somebody, no. You see where I'm getting at? It's a downward spiral. So when you talk about people ain't coming in, marketing problem, the current generation problem, there's so many hands in the pot who can take the blame when it comes to this. And we have a whole class right now from UEI, How many of you guys are looking for work? How many of you have met contractors saying, no, I'm looking for someone with 3 to 5 years experience? That's a common phrase. Every contractor you go online and that says they're hiring, they all say the same thing. I'm looking for 3 to 5 years experience. That goes back to a memory that I had, and somebody always told me, you know what's funny? Every great success story, every great electrician you meet, and we travel the world doing podcasts, and every electrician said the same thing. Someone gave me an opportunity. Someone said, show up tomorrow and you got a job. And if you showed up, you earned that job. Now you're the position to be the contractor to give that blessing to someone else, and you're saying, nah, I need 3 to 5. Because you're not capable of communicating and teaching and leading, so you just want somebody to throw in the field. So now you got that blessing, but now you're holding that blessing on for somebody else. And that's what I'm seeing when it comes to the contractor side of things.
You're seeing that a lot?
All the time. You saw their hands. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Did you want to?
Well, what was the original question? Or do you want to switch up the question?
Well, we were going off
I
of.
think they answered it pretty good.
I can switch up the question unless you had something to say on that. Okay. What about you, Sergio?
No, I think that was covered pretty good, because the hardest part for anyone, and here's another thing too, just a small one, is sometimes in the trades too, when people start, we expect a big paycheck. And then we go in the first job. Here's me getting out of the military, going to my first job, and I'm thinking, I left the military to go earn big money construction. And I went to go get my first job, and they said, we'll give you $7. That was, by the way, a while back. But here I was thinking, where's the big money at that I heard? Where's the big money? You know, but what I've learned too, and seeing how the generational shift, where now the new generation's coming in, the expectations are very high. When I say, when it comes to money, mostly in the electrical trade, it's about your years earned. You got to get in at whatever. Take that pay. Get in the door. You'll make more. Just get in, even if it's low. Or that's your expectation to be like, let me get an opportunity. Whatever, can I survive? I will survive. I survived on $7 an hour until about 6 months after that, I went and I doubled up my money. In a year and a half, I was up at 22 bucks. But just because I kept growing and learning, and I kept moving and going different work, because my expectations were, I just got to get hours in. I didn't care what the pay was. Where the expectation now is, I want to go in, I know nothing, but I want that 30 bucks an hour. I heard that $40 an hour is what they're paying. Well, it's not. It'll take you a bit to get there. We got to get in. Most of the trades, just get in. Get in. Have your expectations low. You will earn your money. But we got to get in and get that opportunity. And that's a big step too. Is that money conversation.
So what matters more on a resume? And this is a question for the panel. What matters more, education or experience?
Experience is the best education, so that's always going to win. You can't replace experience, especially if you have diverse experience, whether it's, residential, high-end residential, commercial, and then, when you get into my world, do you have data center experience? Do you have hospitality experience, hospitals, or do you just know how to do, office interiors? So the more that you know how to do, and the more that you grow your network in each of those disciplines, the more valuable you become. Now, you could also say that if you're a jack of all trades, then you're a master of none, right? So if you can become like the electrical expert in life sciences, where you're the only person that they want stepping into a lab that does tens of millions of dollars of research a year, right? Nobody's going to want anybody but you. It doesn't matter what company you work for, they want Joe, right? Same thing in a hospital. You go into any hospital, they have that one electrician that they want to see, and if any other electrician steps in that building, it's because they're coming with Joe. It's because that's who they trust. When you get that type of a name for yourself, that never mind job security and never mind even a paycheck, you're writing your own ticket to go to work for whatever company. I mean, it's just like a free agent in sports. Like people are going to pay way over the rate. You hear about like union rates in Southern California, which are among the top in the country. Those are minimum wages. Right? The shops go for the A plus journeyman at $10, $15, $20 an hour over that rate, right? So the more expertise you have from experience, the better. But the key is just getting in, just start.
Putting the time in. You have something to say?
And to complement that, we all agree, getting in, we need that experience. And we're never going to deny that experience is a good part and a major part of when it comes to finding work. And I think that holds true for a lot of industries. I want to go a step further, especially that the majority of our audience here are electricians. We understand that timing, though, doesn't apply or doesn't hold that because there's licensing requirements. So there's gauges. So let's say you have 20 years experience, but you're just an apprentice. What's better, 20 years experience or a journeyman license now? You see where I'm getting at? So maybe I agree with that when it comes to skilled trades as a whole, right? Because there's multiple different facets of blue-collar work that we can all jump into. When you niche down into specialty trades, the MEPs, licensing requirements, I think the dynamic and the conversation changes a little. What do you think?
I just have a question. It might be a dumb question, but why do we need code?
Well, definitely code is a minimum standard. You know, here's the thing about the code book. The National Electrical Code Book says, hey, if you use this code book and you learn how to use it correctly, we're going to have a safe installation. Not a good one, not even an efficient one. It's just going to be safe.
So safety.
It's safety. Electricians have some of the biggest liability. Think about this. Every one apprentice that wires one plug, that could start a fire. That's a huge responsibility. That's a huge liability. And if we don't know at least the minimum standard to be safe, well, then now I don't want to hire someone that doesn't know the minimum standard. And when we're talking about the experience and search, or how important that is, nowadays, mostly in electrical trade, it's not so much about experience anymore. In some cases, where it's more about, are you certified so I can meet ratio rules? I need someone certified, even if you know nothing and you're a horrible journeyman, but you have that cert, because I need you on that job site, because I got to complete ratios. I have to make sure that I'm meeting the specs on a job of how many one journeyman per two apprentices, or whatever that ratio is. They have to be met nowadays. And mostly as we get into these more technical jobs where we can't meet that ratio, period, because we just don't have enough. You know, here's the ratio rule in California. It's supposed to be one journeyman for one apprentice and one ET. Usually, that can't be met by anyone. So usually we say we're supposed to be on the job site. Well, the job site could mean I'm in the area. That's how, because we just can't find those people. We can't get them certified fast enough. And people are seeing that now. It's the certs that are super important in a lot of these trades in this area. It's about the cert. Do you come already trained? Do you have a minimum cert? And even if you're a horrible worker, you've got the cert, you're gonna be hired. That's crazy, because that cert is necessary. It's not just because, oh, you're not a good worker. They'll keep the bad worker even if they're certified, because they need one on the job.
Copy. So it's a mixture of both. Obviously, we gotta have experience. We gotta have certs. And you need the experience to get the cert. So either way, you gotta do what you don't want to do. Okay, I have a question about Gen Z. What's the biggest misconception that Gen Z has about the skilled trades?
I'll start.
Misconception.
The biggest misconception I know is that Gen Z is soft. They're soft. They want to do only things for themselves, and it's got to be about what they feel. When I think it's more about us as a different generation understanding what the needs really are to communicate, you know, and how we communicate with different generations. Where the boomers, our communication was different, rugged, just was bad. I mean, my apprenticeship was was horrible. I got, you know, every insult, and you're supposed to have a thick skin about it. You know, where now we're at a different understanding where it's all about being able to know emotional, be able to really understand how to communicate with someone, being able to have emotional intelligence where we're not meeting those needs. And so what do we say? They're soft. They're soft, and it becomes more of a, you know, for me, that's a big misconception. They're hard workers. We're just a different way of communicate with them.
So that was a misconception that we may have about Gen Z. What do you think they have a misconception about the trades?
You know, for me, in the trades, is that the misconception is that no one gives you all the information. It's the gatekeeping. where there's already, I think we're at a different stage in culturally about how it is. And we're here all trying to share what we know so that everyone else improves, even as contractors. That's what I see.
I think a misconception that Gen Z has about the skilled trades is just when you think about just a blue-collar worker in general that's been in blue-collar work for many, many years, what's the thing that comes to mind when you think about that person? I know for me, when I started out in the trades, which was 6 years ago, I was around a bunch of these types of individuals. So someone who's been in the field for a very long time, which is nothing wrong with that, but not in the greatest health. They have knee issues, back issues. Who wants issues like that down the road, right? And then when they get to talking, what we say the three? What are the 3 Ds again? Or what happened?
Divorce, DUI,
What was the third one? I forgot. What
depression.
The third one. Depression. Yeah, okay, so yeah, 3. So that's the stigma that surrounds the skilled trades, because I would be hearing these guys talk and be complaining about their wives. They would be drinking as soon as they get off work, and I think that might. I mean, I'm not Gen Z, but I think that might be a misconception that it's because of that, and it's so widespread. I think that we've just accepted that to be like the end game of the skilled trades. And what we were talking about earlier over there is how in our industry, as an electrician, being a professional in the skilled trades, there are so many opportunities as an electrician, right? All of us start out in the field, basically. I mean, most of us start out in the field. We do that. Some stay in it. Some want to go on to become project managers. Some become inspectors. Some become instructors. There are so many different avenues that can be obtained through our industry that doesn't have to end like that if you don't want it to. I think Todd left. I said this earlier this morning, but Todd with Leviton, he was an electrician for like 20 years, right? And now he's a higher up in Leviton, right, for one of the biggest electrical manufacturing companies in the world. And so you can see how the opportunities are endless as an electrician.
Yeah, it's absurd to look at somebody who started their career in the 70s or the 80s and automatically think that that's the projection for your life, right? You go to any trade show, you go look at the tools that they have. If you could pluck somebody out of the 70s, like a seasoned journeyman in the 70s, and show them the tools that you have now, they would think that you were soft just because of how easy the work's been made for you, right? Asbestos was still used in the 90s, okay? There is asbestos in this hotel, I can see it, right? That it's not fair to look at somebody that has like mesothelioma or lung issues, and they're hacking up a lung, and and assume that that's going to be you. It's becoming even more rare to have to remediate asbestos. I grew up in Boston. You want to talk about old buildings covered in asbestos? They got them in Boston. It's becoming less and less because every time you've touched them for the last 20 years, you've had to do the remediation. So it's almost gone. Silica wasn't even a conversation until 10 years ago. Breathing in concrete dust, right? So and all the other soft things, or not soft things, but the drinking and doing drugs and eating poorly. Nobody says that you have to treat yourself like crap for the next 30 years. Like, those have repercussions, first of all. Second of all, I also work in an office. I see some people in some pretty rough shape in offices too, that have just been sitting at a desk. But we mentioned the career opportunities and the career path, and I think it's a great thing to highlight. Your ability, once you know what it's like to bend conduit, once you know what it's like to work in a tight space, to work in an unsafe condition, the people at my level, the executives at my level, like I work for the 3rd biggest general contractor in the country. We just announced we're going to do $21 billion this year. The executives that the clients trust the most, that are the most valuable, are the ones that came out of the trades. The best salespeople are who are at all these trade shows and selling tools and selling equipment, are the ones that know what it's like to be on your knees turning a wrench, right?
You hear that?
The experience that people get in the trades just gives you so much more of a tangible, pragmatic understanding of the way things work, and it just makes you so much more valuable that you can literally go anywhere. People don't understand that. People also don't understand that they might not want that. Can't tell you how many people I know that came out of the trades, got the project manager position, and was like, please send me back. Like, I want to deal with less people. I want to be alone, and just let me be a foreman, getting a nice foreman's rate. You know what I mean? And that's fine too, because you can make good money and you have better work-life balance or better balance in your head or whatever it is. But really, whatever you want your life to look like, it is possible. And the best route is through the trades. I'm about to have my third kid. I don't want them to go to college. I have 2 college degrees. I don't want them to go to college. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical, that's what I want them getting into.
When do you think that Americans started realizing that college for everyone was maybe creating a labor market problem?
Great question. I would say probably within the last 15 years, there's a big shift on bringing back training back to the high schools. I was doing many programs at the workforce development for one of the larger trade associations where we started doing programs, not even in high school anymore. You've got to reach them down in middle school to now be able to give them, hey, you can actually work with your hands. This is going to be fun. You can make money. Because the high school at that point, they already made up their mind to go somewhere or not to go somewhere. We got to catch them way early now and put that in their head.
Yes.
I want to, how many contractors do we have today?
How many contractors?
Perfect. Were you guys contractors during COVID? How good was the opportunity then? Really? Oh, we hear the opposite. So, okay, that's a good experience. But how was contracting for you when you, sir?
Wow.
Okay, so we have both extremes. Oh, yeah? And what we started seeing is a lot of people during COVID recognize how valuable skilled trade is. True or not? That's, what, 6, 7 years ago? I know everyone's tired of hearing about COVID, but true or not? And if you were a crappy electrician, you were busy. You had side work through. All I knew, that's when everyone started talking about blue-collar work, and that was just tangible. You know, I don't have the data backing that up, but everybody and their mother seemed like they were remodeling their home because they couldn't go nowhere. So what did we start seeing? We started seeing that awakening of what the skilled trades have to offer. Everybody's home, everyone's losing their work. And as a contractor, I remember not sitting in traffic going to Home Depot or the supply store every morning. It was an open highway, true or not. Cops weren't pulling over because nobody was on the road because that's how much work you had, but everyone else got to stay home. So when it comes to when did the trades start getting that awakening, I think for a lot of people, we don't have the data to back it, but if you were a contractor or if you were thinking about becoming a contractor or if you were an electrician doing side work, I think we all recognized that during the COVID just by how busy we started getting.
I think, was your question about when they stopped looking to the trades?
It was more about when we started noticing that this college for everybody formula was kind of maybe creating a problem in that it incentivized people to go for higher education rather than pursuing the trades first and maybe considering higher education later, which is maybe a safer bet.
I always have a problem with the term higher education. I think it's a bullshit term. It's like, why do I have to go sit in an auditorium with 300 other kids who don't know their ass from their elbow to be educated? You get more of a useful education, in a trade school, or out in the field learning from somebody that's been doing something for 400 years, or not 400 years, 40 years, right? The other thing that I hate hearing is like, oh, the next millionaires, like plumbers are the next millionaires. What are you talking about? People have been making millions of dollars plumbing, since plumbing was a thing 100 years ago, right? Like, it's not new. You just realized that it was new. There's plenty of contractors out there. Construction's an $11 trillion industry in the world. Somebody's making $11 trillion, okay? Like, this isn't new. I would say though, probably in the last 10 years, and what I think it is like college has gone up so much in cost, and it's actually gone down in starting salaries since the 1980s. If you adjust the starting salary for college graduates in 1982 to today's dollars, they actually make less money. But yet the cost of college has gone up 20-fold, right? So the return on investment has just become so in your face, like you can't deny that it's not there. And now, for the first time, I posted maybe a month or two ago, you're seeing job opportunities for computer science, because that's what they say, like go to school for computer science, and they have term limits on them. I've never seen a job posting with term limits on it in my life. It's like for a year, you're gonna make $200,000, but then AI's got you. Like, that doesn't happen either. So between the rising cost of a college education, the lack of return, the diminishing return on investment, and and the lack of job security, I just don't think it's deniable. Probably in the last, 5 years, especially when everyone started getting sent home. Like, I know a lot of people that lost their jobs in COVID. Here's the thing about electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, and this is why I always tell people those are the top 3 trades. First of all, they need the licenses and the certs more than anybody else, and they have life safety concerns, right? You might burn the place down. Or if you're a plumber, you might give everybody Legionnaire's disease, which you're not going to make it far with that. Service. Everyone thinks, and this goes to one of the biggest misconceptions about the construction industry. You have to be outside freezing your ass off in the winter. You have to be sweating in the valley all summer. It's boom or bust with the economy because people aren't building new things. There's like 97 billion square feet of commercial space or something like that in the country. All of that has to be serviced. And service work is predictable revenue, right? You get that on a contract. So when you have electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, not only are you making a lot of money doing it, and you can become a millionaire, another millionaire, not a new one. That's job stability, right? I live in Florida. You think if the economy tanks tomorrow, everyone's just going to stop paying to fix their AC? No, they can't. It's not how it works.
I just want to clarify that you're comparing service work to like installation
To new build,
new
like if you
build.
were to build this building out of the ground. They
Right.
have trades in here year round to run this place.
Just maintaining things. Great. All right. I want to move over to the trades in social media and how we have used it. All of you have used it as a tool. Can social media actually recruit people, or is it simply to create awareness? And that's a rhetorical question because it does a lot more than either of those.
We're working with a marketing agency now, and what we started seeing is, especially when it comes to the trades are broken up into 4 categories. Everyone loves a good working video, true or not. We've tested it. You run a drill, 1,000,000 views. You talk, 100 views, right? But if you talk and teach, 1,000,000 views. If you talk and work, 1,000,000 views. So we broke down content in a nutshell of basically what's predictable to go viral. Everyone loves a good working video, but at the end of the day, that doesn't convert to anything. It's not showcasing anything, you're not leaving with anything, it's just brain rot. Then you throw in the education side of the things. If you're actually helping, mentoring, coaching somebody, or showing a nice tip and trick, true or not, Sean, Serge, Rudy, all of you guys have done videos where you just give a nugget that is day-to-day life. That's normal stuff that you deal with every day, and next thing you know, that blows up. Why? Because that fundamental truth touched every electrician. We all understand it's true, so they'll see it, and they'll share it. It's so funny, we're coming into this market now when it comes to social media. So yeah, you can definitely get eyeballs, but if you want to move someone, if you want them to take action, you got to make the right message with the right love language, I feel like, for the next generation.
Interesting use of the word recruiting. How many people want to be entrepreneurs? How many people want to own their own company? You know what the easiest part is about being an entrepreneur? If you polled 100 blue-collar business owners, you know what they would tell you the easiest thing is that they didn't think would be the easiest thing? It's getting more work. People can get more work. Well, once word of mouth gets out there, people are going to want you. Once people find out that you're good and you're reliable and you're going to show up on time, that's easy. You're going to have a line down the block of people looking to hire you to do their work, and you're going to be able to charge a premium for it, right? You're going to be able to charge a lot of money for it. The toughest thing that they will tell you is recruiting talent, retaining talent, and trying to build a team out. And it's so hard that a lot of people actually don't want to build a company more than 3 or 4 people. I had a guy on my podcast, he's up in Boston, and he has a non-union plumbing company up there. And he's built a company of like 50 to 60 plumbers when nobody can find plumbers. Plumbers is the biggest shortage in the country for trades, and it's shocking because it's like I said, it's a top 3 skilled trade. He doesn't spend a dollar on marketing for new work, marketing for clients. He markets his company for the work culture that he's trying to build and the place that he wants, and a nice place for you to enter the industry and to be coached and to be mentored and to be brought up. And he has a compensation plan, and they're joking around the office, they're joking around on job sites, and it's an awesome recruiting tool for him. And I think a lot of people, I think you're going to see a lot more people going that way. That was me.
You know, one
Looks
thing
like we
about
have a
recruiting.
question, actually.
I
Can
was
we?
just gonna say, oh, yeah, definitely. I was just say about recruiting.
Sure, yeah.
I think the skilled trades, being on social media, has recruited more people because I think a lot of the not knowing how much people actually make in the trades has been an eye-opening for a lot of folks.
Exposure. Yeah.
Exposure.
All right, we had a question in the audience. Yeah.
I think you always want to diversify, right? You want to have as many eggs in as many baskets as you can. I think a lot of people would tell you that service work is a great way to fill the gaps to new construction. The cash flow is also a lot better, so you're not waiting 30, 60, 90 days. I mean, unfortunately in my business, I don't own a business, but in large commercial construction, especially public work, it puts a lot of mom and pops out of business because they can't wait for the cash flow. And you got a big, Fortune 500 company that doesn't care. What are you going to do, sue them? They'll squash you like a bug. They probably won't even acknowledge it. They'll just throw it in the trash. So I think service work's a good way to do it. The other thing about service work is that it's a good way to network, right? So I always say, like, for construction management especially, if you work on one large project and all of your resources are on it, or all of your focus is on that, that's one architect, one engineer, one client, one owner's representative. Whereas if you do a bunch of small things, say you do 10 small projects in a year, well, that's 40 people. I just named 4 different professionals. That's 40 of those that you now have. And the network is the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Are you saying it's possible to help build clientele or build connections in the business?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, both. And a lot of people don't understand, like on the general contracting side, what OpEx is versus CapEx. So in a down economy, capital expenditures dries up, right? So you're not going to build a new hotel. But they have an OpEx that there's, in LA alone, I think the OpEx funding in LA is like $200 billion or something like that. OpEx would be operational expenditures. So if they have to have somebody repaint the building every 3 years, and they got to have somebody change out the filters in the HVAC units, and whatever that looks like.
And I want to add to that because I feel like I'm going to dumb it down for us, especially us as electricians, as contractors. We notice we're so eager to find work, right? We're so eager to find that next job that we get caught up in the moment. And at the end of the day, we don't know how to sell service work. Mm-hmm. You understand? And then we also talk about how electrical contractors, how they're bidding 30, 40, 50% for profit margins. And remember, Diane from Profit Coaches here, you're going to see we're bidding for that value because you have the license, you have all these skills. But at the end of the day, the net take-home profit that we're taking is 68%. And it's coming through profit leaks, it's coming from mismanagement, it's having poor communication skills, not completing jobs. Guess what? If you are running a project poorly, you're not going to have the confidence to ask, hey, can you keep me on for another year and I'll do service work? The job is already taking longer than it's expected. You understand? So it comes into this, that is a market, but you have to be the right person at the right place at the right time, who knows how to communicate, who knows how to handle your work. So then you can say, hey, how do you come back? Everyone wants to just focus on, I can do the work. How are you going to stay? How are you going to make sure that you're that 911? When something goes wrong, they're going to call you for that solution. So there's so much more than just coming into the trades to working and that opportunity. You have to be the right person, the right contractor at the right time to provide the right service at that time, giving them ease, not saying, oh, there's issue, or I've been doing this for 30 years and I've never seen this before. They're not looking for more problems. They're looking for a solution. And if you become that bottleneck, if you become that solution, you're never going to enter the market of service. And I think, Ryan, we talked about that one time where you're like, hey, we're looking for contractors. I would love to hire a non-union contractor, but dang, no one can pick up the phone. Nobody can send me a proper proposal. Nobody can now give me an update on the field because they're still busy in the field. So I don't know if that.
Listen, go talk to any GC, go talk to the person that's running their estimating department. The first thing they'll tell you is that we would love to have more qualified bidders, right? But they also don't have time to educate you up to speed on how and what they need. Because what a lot of people don't realize, and I can go through this in one of the side sessions, but a lot of the time as a general contractor, we have to be transparent to a certain level with the owner, the client. Like I have to actually show them your proposal, and I have to like walk through how you bid this and how you carried it and how you go apples to apples versus the other electricians, right? Yeah, general contractors, especially when it comes to the MEP trades, mechanical, electrical, always want new.
Can I add to that? Yeah, so what we say is there's three important, I'd call them pillars, that we describe as for electricians, and that's the hard skills, the soft skills, and then self-development. And so what do those terms mean? The hard skills, technical skills, doing the actual work, right? All of us electricians know how to do the work, especially with experience, right? Well, then we get to this thing called the soft skills, right? Communication, leadership, how you talk with the customer. And even if you're not a contractor, you're an electrician working for a contractor, all those things still matter. But what I always say is that hard skills open the door, right? Open the door in the sense of opportunity. I would say soft skills, self-development is what keeps that door open. And so as a contractor, I even have a screenshot on my phone of a review from a individual that I saw. It's not my business, someone else's business, but he got a review, and it went something along the lines of, this person did a great install. This person did great work. After he finally showed up, after he finally communicated, and that person left them a 1-star review. And they said, he did great work, literally verbatim, did great work, good electrician, but horrible at everything else. So that just shows that it's not all about the work in the sense of the install, making sure you meet code, which is important, right? But so much of this stuff rests on everything else that has nothing to do with being or doing the actual installs, technical skills, all the electrical work.
Yeah, contractors have such a bad reputation. We got to change that. It's on you. All right. I wanted to ask what kind of, so back to the social media, we kind of went on tangent there, but yeah, that was good. What types of stories or posts resonate the best? And maybe I would go as far as to say, what was one post that surprised you of how good of a reaction it got? So what kinds of stories resonate most?
I think it was Sergio's at the last convention we had, that went 1.4 million views in like a week, and he said the same thing in lines of, you don't want to be a glorified apprentice. You don't want to be working 10, 20 years in the trade, and you have nothing to show for it. You understand? So, Serge, I think you
yeah, you know, I think that was the biggest surprise for me, because I always say two things, you know, and it's never meant in any derogatory form, but you're either an installer or you're a certified tradesperson. Does that make sense? I mean, we all start off as installers, but at a certain point, mostly in the MEP world, where you have to get certified, or you just stay as an installer. You know, and different states have different regulations, but let's see, here in California, the difference between someone that just works as opposed to someone that works, gets certified, could be 2 to 3 times their pay. That's huge. And I say that one of my friends, one of my very, very good friends who just got certified as an electrician, now is making $100 an hour. Isn't that crazy? Imagine it uncertified, I'm making 30-some bucks an hour, $40 an hour, that's great money. But you go take that test, and now the difference is $100, $95, $100 an hour, and you want to still be just an installer? This, in construction now, if you have the experience, you better come with the certs. And stack your certs. You know, I once went to get a job interview, and I thought I had all the certs, and I thought I was very cocky, super qualified. They said, nope, not enough. and I went and took a class, a free class to fix an oven. I got a little cheap cert. And with that cheap cert, it got me that job. Because they said, oh, to them, it wasn't an oven. It was, oh, you can fix appliances. An appliance could be a hospital bed. So just that, knowing how the construction world is now, show me what you've got. This is great. You can do the work, but let me see the certs. This now is about how many certs can you stack. Those are the ones that are most employable.
Do you think a welding cert would help with an electrical job?
If you're an electrician that can do plumbing, my gosh.
Wait, plumbing? No, I said welding.
Imagine, or even welding. If you can do any, if you have multiple trades,
Yeah.
I mean, companies want someone that can do more than one thing. If you can do, and mostly in facilities where the pay is.
I think they call those elevator mechanics.
Oh, those,
Yeah.
those
Or
are good ones.
HVAC.
No,
Yeah.
to tag off what Sergio said, we do a lot of content on this type of stuff, licensure, just how to be a better electrician, how to be a better professional. And to go along with what you said about certifications and licenses, get all these comments saying what a license actually is or what they think it is. And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's just the way it is. And you can think it's conspiracy or whatever, just a money grab, but that's the way it is, and that's how this economy operates. That's how this world operates, and so that's why licensure it does mean a lot. It means almost everything, actually. I mean, because who's the one that was talking about the apprentice earlier? The apprentice 20 years, but you're still an apprentice. 20 years with no license, but you have a journeyman license with a guy with like 5 years. Who's getting paid more?
Are there any other clips that surprised you that went like super viral? You're like, whoa.
Yeah, I did a reel last year that it was kind of characterized about what I was saying earlier, the stigmas that surround blue collar workers, and I showed different clips of what do we do first thing in the morning? What do we do? Like after we leave, where we hit up? Gas station, right? What do we get at the gas station?
C4.
Okay, C4.
7-Eleven pizza.
Pizza at 6 a.m. Okay.
Always.
Yeah. So your monsters, your Red Bulls, your chicken biscuits with the cheese and everything, and you loading up on all that. And I mean, it was kind of funny, but a lot of people resonated with that because that's just the typical thing that we do, right? We get in the norm. I mean, I know several guys who that's their routine is wake up and they go about their day right. They eat out all 3 meals. They eat out at the gas station for breakfast, lunch, and then they grab some pizza on the way home at like 9 o'clock at night and throwing down 4 or 5 Red Bulls. Do you realize you will not make it very long doing that? And this isn't like a health class or whatever, but I'm just saying like it's really important for us. And there's white collar guys who do the same thing, but the point is that these stigmas surround us, and it doesn't have to be that way. And especially with our line of work, I mean, we're actually doing physical labor. It is so important to make sure we don't go down that trail because I know a guy who had a heart attack in his mid-30s doing that kind of stuff. So
I had whenever I share statistics that like blow people's mind, whether it's about what people make in different markets, and everybody has an opinion, and everybody likes to argue with me, and it's like, there's a lot of experts out there. You start posting stuff on social media about like what you know about the trade or what you know about the business, you're going to get every expert coming out of the woodwork telling you why you're an idiot, right? And it's because some guy is working in Buffalo, New York, he understands what trades make all over the country, not me who actually runs work all over the country and has to price it out and travel and everything, but so that's always funny. Just understand that whatever you do, even if you're trying to go out and get a license or something, you're going to face a lot of negativity because it's the right thing to do and you're going to elevate your game, right? And just don't listen to it. On the flip side, there's also a lot of social media posting out there that like oversimplifies the industry, and almost every person in the room said they either are an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur. I'm a personal development junkie. You watch my story on Instagram, I'm like, I think I'm David Goggins. Like, I'm all for burning the boats and going after your dream and like throwing it, like just laying it all on the line. I am that guy. I see too many young people that are jumping into entrepreneurship at 18, 19, 25 years old and oversimplifying it and bragging about the money they're making that isn't even in their bank account yet. And there's a lot of good influences out there like Cody Sanchez, but like for every Cody Sanchez, you got 100 people that are in the trades starting a business telling you how easy it is and telling you how you can become a millionaire overnight. Do not listen to those people either. I've even tried to DM and talk to some of these young guys and just say, hey, like, dude, pump the brakes, stop Stop bragging about being smarter than the baby boomers. Stop bragging about signing up for $100,000 of work in a month.
I
Because
think I know who you're talking about.
you're heading, yeah, curly hair kid?
Yeah.
So I talked to him and I'm like, dude,
Anthony.
yes. Yeah, yes. Bleep that up.
We don't have to say his last name.
But no, but I've had conversations with multiple, and they brag about signing these contracts, and it's like, guys, that's not revenue. You did not make that money. You didn't
That's
make that
net.
money until that is in your bank account. That is the definition of revenue. There are a lot of things that can go wrong, from getting canceled to people not showing up for work to you not only knowing one plumber in town and that one just got hit by a bus and now you're screwed, to being sued, breaking something in the house, not having the right insurance on it, to being fired on the job because the contract says that you can be fired, and now you're liable to pay somebody else to come in and finish your job for you at a higher price. Long story short, entrepreneurship is not that easy. The best thing that you can do right now is ignore that stuff on social media and go learn on somebody else's dime. Even though you might not be getting paid every dollar you want, don't make a $5 an hour decision today that could cost you $100,000 in 10 years. Okay? Go learn on somebody else's dime, somebody else's liability. Be worth mentoring, right? Be worth them sinking their resources into you. And be patient. That's the path that you should take. Don't let social media get you down, and don't let it pump you up too much.
Can I make a comment? Well, we're trying to get Cody Sanchez's attention, so maybe this will reach her. But no, I love Cody Sanchez too, but about things being oversimplified sometimes. She's really good at what she does, and I like a lot of her stuff. But she's been an advocate for buying like trade businesses and stuff. But then these people, because someone at church came up to me not too long ago wanting to buy an electrical business, but guess what? They need someone with a license, and so he's coming to me. You interested? And so I think some of these people who are doing that, like buying these trade businesses, like, oh, just buy this plumbing business, electrical business. They're not telling you the most important part of all that is the license, and they can't find people with that.
To be clear, you cannot get a bank loan to buy or start a business unless a certain percentage of the company is held by a license holder. So what happens also if, hey, you want to buy an electrical business, and I'm with him, he either has me by these, right? He's got me by the short and curlies, or if something happens to him, I might lose my business, right?
Yeah, it doesn't transfer. You can't just transfer a license over if something happens. Like some of these businesses I didn't mean to interrupt you, sorry.
No.
But like, I know GCs or any trade, electrical, plumbing, GC, whatever, that license doesn't just transfer to like your air or whatever. They may, like the state may give you like some kind of grace period to figure it out or whatever, but eventually that license is gone.
Usually it's like 30 or 60 days or something like that.
Yeah, that's in saying that they're not only buying actual companies, they're actually also buying educational companies too. It's amazing how many people are going to come. We want to buy your company. Well, I'm not ready yet, but there's also caveats to that, and without you knowing what that is and oversimplifying, and I see a lot of social media do that. So is oversimplifying and people buying into it. Just always do your research. That's what it should be.
Now, on the other flip side, there are a lot of critics online. So you kind of get a lot of feedback, right, as well, right? So this is kind of a funny question, but who's more critical, the inspectors or the comment critics?
Well, there's Instagram inspectors.
Instagram
They
inspectors.
don't hold a license. They just been doing it for 30 years, and they think that they know all things at all places, all states, all
With
cities.
no profile pic.
All jurisdictions. Some have a profile pic, some don't, and it's private, so you can't look them up. And then they give like they're hiding, So there's a lot of I call them Instagram. The code Gestapo is what I call them.
They're professional. They're professionally trolls. They're professional trolls out there. And here's also where as much as sometimes I want to say something like, "Ooh, I wouldn't do that." I hate to see an electrician doing a great job. Then all of a sudden they get on the very top of the ladder, and I'm going, "Oh no!" But I get it. I totally get it. There's certain things I want to criticize, but I'm like, you know what? Hey, you live the day. You live the day. But I think that also when you are putting things up on social media, make sure all your I's are all you dot your I's, you cross your T's, because there's so many small things that people are going to get you on, and you're never going to do everything right. States are different, rules are different, but I think overall that you get engagement, good or bad, people are seeing it. To me, that's good. Come on, trolls, come on, because you're giving me engagement. You're giving me reasons to let you know why I did this or why I didn't. There's going to be tons of trolls out there, and tons of inspectors and folks that know code. And I got to tell you, when I first put myself out on social media, I didn't want to. I didn't want to get that heat. I'm very unconventional in the way I do things and the way I train. And what I found that's really was my power. It was made me different as an instructor. But I didn't want to get those internet trolls and now I welcome it because now I'm able to have discussions about it properly. But I think good or bad, it's just going to give you more views. And if you're like us where it's, hey, views are good or bad, because they're going to be there. No matter how good you do something, someone's going to criticize you. And I do some really good stuff. But I think that's comes with part of the show.
Excellent. Thank you for the great answers. All right, I got one here. Why are polished corporate videos not as effective as these social media posts? Why do you think? Throw it out there.
Does that maybe have anything to do with like talking videos, like what you were saying? Or, I don't know, like.
Yeah, like corporate,
Like when people are talking who look like me right now?
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's like talking videos, right? So, just my opinion. I think talking videos, they're unless you're like doing more than one, like talking and teaching or whatever it may be, or working. I think just talking videos, you have to do it for a long time, establish a voice. Talking videos, like what you're describing, they at first don't get a lot of engagement, but like I think about people who I like. I don't know. Let's just throw one out there. I like PBD, Patrick Bet David. That's all he does is talking stuff. But I mean, dude's huge, right? I mean, huge following, big voice, right? So he can throw out a talking video, right, or like what you're describing, and super high engagement, right? Because people care about what he has to say, even if they agree or disagree with it.
I'm not necessarily talking about a talking video. Like your videos are also
Yeah.
very applicable. I was more talking about like the corporate, with the background
Yeah,
and this label.
I think people are starving for authenticity.
Yeah, that's
I think people just want authenticity and just to be organic and honest with people. And I think that people can, when you hear somebody mess up when they speak, or it's not perfect, or, I don't know, something falls out of the sky and hits them in the head when they're filming, like everyone can kind of relate to that stuff.
Why do you think that's important, have authenticity?
I think people are just so sick of people being inauthentic and being lied to. You know what I mean? I think with social media, we just constantly have people in our face lying to us, and we can all kind of, see through it. And I think specifically, the younger generation, people can say what they want about Gen Z and Gen A. I think that those two generations can smell the bullshit better than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have to explain to an older person that something's AI. I've been had a few times, you know what I mean? That's another thing on social media. I posted an AI video as a joke, like of a pool breaking in Dubai, like on the roof, and people flowing out of the top of the building, and people are like, "You're an idiot." Like I know, guys. But yeah, I think people are just starving for authenticity. I'm curious, does anybody in the room want to start a social media platform of like any kind, or see that as being part of their career? Can I ask why?
Well, it's kind of already happening. It's just starting.
Okay. For your business or for you personally, like what's the intent?
To teach authenticity.
Teach.
And I think that's super important. Mostly like being in the educational field, where I have to remind people, like, I've been doing electrical for years. I'm not just up here showing it. I've got my tools. Just that my career ended up changing. I ended up being, for me, training became more lucrative. It's way much more lucrative than me having to put my tools on, but that's how I've been doing 30 years of wearing my tools and running huge projects and running, PW jobs and traveling. I was that guy, and I have to keep reminding my audience, because if not that authenticity, really quick, if you're not real, they don't want to see that. And the new generation catches that really quick. Oh, you're a teacher? Well, let me go see someone that's actually doing it. Well, that wasn't me. But now I've now changed what I do, but I'm still an electrician. I still I see something I want to just grab my tools and do it. And it's so hard for me now not to. But that real, if you're not being real, you're not being authentic, no one wants to see that. There's plenty of fakes and scams out there. So I occasionally have to do something, be like, look, I can do a tool here, because I have to remind people that's how I grew up. That's what I was raised.
Alrighty. So, those are all great answers and great feedback so far. Thank you, everybody. Does anybody have any questions from the audience that they've been itching to ask? That's all right. Yeah. Okay, we got one here.
You guys kept going over the cert. Are we talking about the C10? What cert are we specifically talking about?
Sir, for me, it would be license, either a C10, a journeyman, a residential journeyman, just to have that. I'm trained enough, and I went and took a test required by the state, and now I can prove that I can do minimum this. For me, that's what I call the cert, whether it's a C10 or a residential or the VDV cert, but that's in whatever trade that is. For me, it could be whether it's and different states have different words for it, where like California calls a journeyman license, they call it a journeyman cert, because the license would be more of the owner that has the license to do the work. So just how that word changes in different states. But for me, it's, did you take a test to prove it? That's required by state. Then you have the minimum. And from then on, then we grow.
Okay, so some advice. I want to get advice from you guys. If you're a small construction company with no marketing budget, how can social media help promote your business? And what's maybe like the easiest piece of content you can start with?
I'll speak from my own personal experience. When I started my page, I was an employee, and then about a year later, I went on my own. But for that year, while I was an employee, there happened to be a general contractor in the Memphis area that had been following my stuff, and I used to be into just posting my work. It used to look really nice and fancy, but that was kind of my thing. I liked doing. Got somebody's attention, and he actually hit me up while I was still an employee and wanted me to do some work for him. And obviously that wasn't going to work because one, I was working for someone else, and two, I wasn't licensed yet. And I told him that we can talk more once we get that license. And then it wasn't like till probably a year or two later when I did, and then we connected again. And he supplies more than half our work, and I have it's just me, and I have one employee, so it's one crew. But I mean, just from that one contact, because of starting the page, here we are, 4, 5, 6 years later, and we're staying busy just through that one person. The second thing I've done without spending any money on marketing is posting and all. I was talking, I think, to you about this earlier. One thing I've done is get on all of my local community Facebook groups, so all the suburbs around Memphis, and I put myself out there, and usually someone calls me, and then they have a good experience, and then they'll post in there, and then it's just been a snowball effect over time, So I would say Instagram has helped, but I get more calls from the local Facebook groups than anything else.
And me personally, what I always thought when it came to social media, if you think about it, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 100 years ago, you could never meet this many people in your life. You probably knew everyone in your local town, and that's it, right? But social media, if you flip that, you have the opportunity to meet as many people as you want because of social media, and you can accidentally post something and it actually pops off. So there could be two truths. 100 years ago, you would never have met more than 100 people in your life, and today, 100 people could know you by lunchtime. You understand where I'm coming from? So that is the cost of the opportunity. But now it's, who do you want to be? What's that voice you want to show? What's that brand you want to share with other people when it comes to your business, when it comes to whatever services that you're going to offer? You have that possibility. But at the same time, then you got to figure out, are you the right person, the right message at the right time to find somebody who's going to look at your business?
I got to tell you, social media for marketing, it's the free tool. And I can tell you this from my experience. When I first went off and started my own company, I was very well known with certain contractors, and that was all I worked for. And all I took is me putting up, what I did, hitting the right algorithm, and all of a sudden I went from having 10 students to 100 students in a month. mean, that's huge. Free marketing. All my students will come out of Instagram, TikTok, out of just all the different type of social media, and it's completely free. Now we monetize. I mean, now I put a video and I get a check sent to me from Meta just for me putting something up. I mean, that's the best way to put it, to put yourself out there for free and free marketing. That for me helped me out, but I had to also research how was the algorithm, when's it the best time. It's not just post something and be like, oh, this might work. It's what time is my audience, who's my audience.
Yeah, so any details can you give on that? Like, what is the best time to post? I don't know.
Well, if you look, this is what I've learned to do. Look at your insights. If you put a picture, any story, look at the insights, it'll tell you when was it viewed most. Now hit that next. Out of that, now publish a video, make a story of that video. I mean, there's so many different ways to use social media that you can do at home. I mean, we researched this ourselves, where now we have a company that does it for us, where that was how we did it. And we went from, I had 1,000 people, 900 people, and right now we're about 25,000, but it's all collabs and getting paid to do a video and different sponsors. And, that's the freest marketing period, is just being able to use Instagram. But you have to know how to do it. You have to study it, know the algorithm, know when to post, know what to post, know how to post. There's so many different parts of it, but once you do, it's cheap and free.
Well, what's like the simplest content idea? Like what could somebody do tonight, like in a moment's notice?
Like for me, like you can go tonight. Like there's many different things you do, but for example, you can go out and see what's hot today, what is viral, and do one of the viral. Just follow what other people are getting viewed on. Automatically, you got views. Or start seeing your stories, what time and what hit the most. Research what your stories are doing, and now put to that, make a story with that same content at the time that it's been hit the most, and you will see all of a sudden you got 35,000 views in 4 hours. Or now, you put something up, it's like, oh, I got 10 views, because you're not meeting the right audience, putting the right content. And once you understand that, then let's use that. That's free media. That's free money. You're not giving any money away. You're just doing it, putting a post. But how to post, what to post. Yeah. Now that becomes important.
Just make a blatant code violation video that's about 5 seconds long, and it'll blow up.
That'll hit hard.
But here's the weird thing. Sometimes, like for example, TikTok. Depending what kind of camera you have and the kind of video you have, will put you in a different algorithm. But then now you can also promote. You can press a button and pay them to put you up on, whenever you want it. And it's way cheaper than, having to just try to figure it out. It's put up there, pay to post it, and they will post it.
Oh, so even that is a better solution than
totally.
billboard.
I get, my clients come straight out of it's nothing but social media. That's where all my clients come from. And I got students from all over. I got from all over the United States that come to my classes.
So how often should companies be posting? Every day, twice a day?
Well, for me, you got to keep posting. When I don't post, let's say, for example, minimum 4 posts a day, my views start to go down.
What?
Yeah, it'll go down. Like, usually I'll do, if I don't do 10 posts, my views will go down from 1.3 down to 1, and it starts to slip. You just start to see people want to see your stuff, and they want to go back and see more of your stuff. And so that's right now for us. It's like we just gotta. The minute I don't post 4 a day, we start to lose views.
That's a lot of work to do. So have you found a process to balance your posting with the actual work that you do?
Yeah. So I can do 2 educational videos, and I got to do 2 memes. That'll get the views. Literally, it's the craziest thing. I'll put something heartfelt. Oh, I love this. It's looking good. Then I'll put a post. Man, them plumbers. Boom. Because people relate to that.
Yeah.
And then now now you're being seen in other people start to post your stuff, and now you get more clients from them. So my balance is something heartfelt, an educational post, and I got to put a meme up, just me saying something funny or just writing something funny, and all of a sudden my page every day will stay at over 1 million views of people every third, just really seeing your stuff. So for me, that's been my number. Anytime I go under 4, it starts to slip. But that's just 4 quick pics, 4 quick posts. They don't have to be elaborate either.
No.
I think sometimes the more we make it elaborate, the less views you get.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Sometimes you're just talking in front of, sitting in your car, telling someone how you feel about the day, about the work you're doing. All of a sudden, that's good enough. And I'll post something, a couple of funny things or a couple of just basic things. A picture of a receptacle crooked. Craziest views. Oh, I'm gonna fix that. You know what I mean?
You know what that's called, right?
More like sometimes rage bait works, but what's
Yes.
that one called?
Okay,
Rage
okay. Just making sure.
bait. They love that. I'm telling you.
Yeah. They love and hate it.
They love to hate it. That's right. That's been my formula myself.
Does anyone else want to address that? Same. I was also thinking more like, let's say you have some workers on the site or on the job, and you want to take content. Do you ask them to do it, or do you have like a separate crew, or do you do it? How do you balance
I
that?
intentionally don't post anything while I'm at work. I keep it totally disconnected from my company, for obvious reasons. The one thing that I will say, if you're on a commercial job, you got to be careful. You can't just like take a post and post it. That's a good way to get fired from the job. It's a good way to get fired, like as the company or you yourself as the worker. Any agreement between a contractor and an owner flows down to you, the subcontractor. So we have people consistently get in trouble and fired, and contractors get thrown off jobs for posting social media. Whether it's about the job or not, if there's just something where it's obviously a certain client's facility, you're tossed. No questions asked.
And maybe that can go in line for Gen Z. Once again, we understand the value of coming into the trade. We understand the work that you guys are going to be doing, and we want to make sure you have the right intentions, right? You don't want to go to work to film yourself at work to go viral online. You understand? Remember when TikTok shut down for like 24 hours? Remember? All the influencers started bugging out, but who didn't? Electricians who had a job the next day. You see where I'm getting at? So you want to make sure you're in it for the right reasons. It's awesome to showcase what you're doing. It's awesome to share what you're doing, especially like what a lot of you guys are already doing. But always keep that focus, you understand? If a lot of people, we always say to ourselves, we always have to stay grounded in the sense of we're only relevant because there's a Wi-Fi connection right now. You understand? If there was no Wi-Fi, no one would have an idea of what's going on right now. But guess what? The work you do, you help someone, you fix that thermostat. It was cold winter. You help them stay warm, Someone lost power. A hospital needs emergency power, backup power. All the work that you guys are already doing has more value than whatever online will ever give you.
So do you ever involve any of your employees in the content creation?
Yeah, I include mine quite a bit whenever I'm making apprentice videos, and they actually blow up. I kid around with, his name's Max, I kid around with him. I'm like, dude, like every time I show you, man, like the engagement goes up like crazy. I'm like, we need to get you a little account going
raise?
or something. Yeah, but no, but like I said, I mean, it's just us two, so it's not like anything with what like Ryan's dealing with or any probably a lot of other people deal with. So it's a different dynamic. But yeah, I post them all the time.
For myself, I'm much more of a niche in the educational part. So, it's like I definitely Harry is now he's doing his first class out here, but being able to have our interaction, how we interact. Every time I post Harry up when teaching or him doing something with me, it just makes it more real, and people get to know us, and we get more views that way. And now it's to the point where it's like, hey, it's almost to where if you post and you're going to be, you have to really watch out how you brand yourself too. So now it's like, if you're going to be out there, put the right stuff out there. It's almost like when you get a job and you get a real job and you got to change your email that you've used, those emails that everyone makes, 4969, 420 guy, it's now going to become more professional. You're putting yourself out there, be professional about it, And I see these great posts, these awesome electricians doing work, and then I'll see like, I see them doing that work, and they're maybe doing something they shouldn't be doing. It's like now you're just taking away from your brand, because now you're become a brand, and you've got to now police what you do and how people view you, because people are going to not just your people, but everyone else gets to see that, and so that becomes important to me with Harry and me showing, my work, or hey, this is how we're going to do a video together, is that we do it in the right light. It's a brand that we become now.
Funny, I don't think any of the young people in here surprisingly want anything to do with social media. We asked that question. Just because you don't have social media doesn't mean you don't have a personal brand. You guys all understand that? You talk about gatekeeping and people not wanting to teach, people not wanting to mentor. Like, you have to ask yourself, like, what are you doing to tell somebody or give somebody the impression that you're worth mentoring, that you're worth sinking in the resources to? You know, like, do you show up? Do you have a collared shirt on? Is your shirt tucked in? Do you have holes in your pants? Is your steel toe sticking out of your boot? You know, do you look like you woke up in a dumpster? Like, what do you haven't showered in 3 days? Like, some people show up to work looking like that, and it's like, what do you think you're portraying? Are you showing up 15 minutes late? Are you wasting other people's time? Are you constantly on your phone? Are your hands in your pockets all the time? Do you have to be told the same thing 3 times? Are you looking to leave work early? You know, like, overtime's a foreign word to you because you'd rather be out with your friends than doing whatever you got to do to make the job and the company shine. Like, what is your personal brand? Because you have one with all the people that are around you. You don't need a social media to do that. So I highly recommend it. I just said this to a group of people, you know, at my company, 60 interns. Number one thing, take care of your personal brand because people are watching.
Well, this has been a great panel. Do we have any other thoughts that we want to get off? I love that conclusion there, where we are all personal brands, and we do have to differentiate between our personal lives and our business lives, but at the same time, we are who we are, right? We have a question.
We have a few things here, sorry.
Sure.
Appreciate y'all being here. You talked about hard skills and soft skills. What was the third one?
Self-development. Well, it's closely connected to soft skills, but slightly different.
Definitely. And then how much do you guys agree with this, is that your net worth is your net worth?
1,000%.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Just to kind of to go off of that, I met Will 2 years ago. Most of us here, we met each other 2 years ago, and having that network that wants to grow, I grew with him. I mean, it's just been an amazing 2 years since I met these gentlemen here, and where my company went, would definitely not have been there if I hadn't had that network. When you're growing with people that want to grow and take you there, I mean, it's just amazing, and I'm always very grateful for that.
Whether it's calling a new client to get work or calling a subcontractor, low voltage subcontractor to help you, do something, or a fire alarm guy because you guys don't do fire alarm or whatever it may be, or even just knowing another electrician up the block because you guys are trying to grow the crew. Whatever it is, whether it's putting food on the table, cooking the food, cleaning up after the food's been eaten, you're only going to be able to do that with a network. You can be the best electrician in the world. If nobody knows about you and you don't know anybody, you're not going to be doing electrical for anybody or with anybody or getting paid to do it. So, yeah, net worth is network.
Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the question. All right, Sergio, Cameron, Wilson, Ryan, thank you all for being here. This has been brought to you by Energize Us EDU. Thank you, Wilson, for founding this. And this is Skills Jam, and I'm Eli, and thank you for all coming. All right?
Thank you, Skill Jam.